Hey, I'm Eiley, ringleader and your personal cheerleader over here at Circus Boss. We empower circus professionals like you with the knowledge, strategies, and support you need to manage your career like a boss. I'm excited to share with you another episode of our Circus Boss Spotlight series where we shine a light on individuals and companies in the industry and take you behind the scenes for some inspiration and tips to help you on your journey. In today's interview, I'm talking with Lauren Kehl about being your own boss, self-care tips, and the importance of working with your body instead of fighting against it.
My name is Lauren Kehl. I live and work in Seattle. I've been coaching at Versatile Arts for a very, very long time. I started doing circus as a recreational adult, so I didn't have any sort of strong physical background in any other discipline. After a few years of training at Versatile Arts, that's where I started with Beverly Sobelman, I decided that I was ready to take a next step. So I went to NECA. I did the intensive year there. And when I came back to Seattle, I pursued performing to some degree and worked a lot with animate objects, but eventually realized that I really felt passionate about coaching. Being somebody who's coming to such a physically challenging discipline without having a physical background to back it up meant that I got injured a lot. My body really went through the ringer. And I ended up having a relatively severe back injury. And that really was the thing that fully shifted me into figuring out how to support my own body. And then that, of course, transitioned into me really paying attention to my students' bodies, shifting my focus from trying to teach people tricks to trying to teach people how to use their bodies, and then applying those skills to learn skills and tricks. I have become a certified personal trainer, Pilates instructor, and done countless other assorted continuing education things in all sorts of different arenas with that same focus.
And now I've seen you pivot and really establish yourself as your own brand, your own business. You've really been crushing it with your consistent blog posts and videos in addition to the teaching that you're doing. So I'm just curious, like, what keeps you motivated getting all this done?
I mean, a lot of it is like, here's all this stuff again. Like, I've spent over 10 years in this industry, and the last 5 to 8 years really trying to dig in and educate myself as well as my students. So a lot of this stuff is stuff that's just been like floating around in my brain for years that, like, you know, if you've ever been in my class, you might have heard me like go on a little rant tangent before. Like, all of my students know that if I get started on something, they're going to have to sit down and listen for 5 minutes while I yell about it. There's so much content out there. Some of it is really good. Some of it really isn't, right? So the more that I can contribute to the conversation, the more that I can like level up what is being put out there, the better off for everybody, right?
So I'm curious, what's the hardest part about being your own boss?
Keeping accountable to a schedule of some sort, right? Like having to motivate myself to do stuff. And last week was really, really hard. I didn't get stuff done, you know, and like I really struggled with like feeling guilty about that, even though it's okay, right? Like, it's okay for me to be low energy and to be dealing with some depression and anxiety around, you know, all of that. And yeah, so like, that's really, like, I feel a lot of guilt if I'm not being productive, but also staying consistently productive is hard, you know, when you don't have any outside things holding you accountable, right? If I don't have a deadline that somebody else set that I have to say like, yes, I did that thing in the amount of time that I said I was going to do it, right? It's just me.
What's your favorite thing about being your own boss?
Being able to be creative in the way that I'm putting out content, what is interesting to me, what I'm finding exciting, what my students and clients are interested in, like being able to allow that to drive my process.
So since you're in this content creation mode and you're teaching and you're coaching other people and you're helping other aerialists to take care of their bodies, what does self-care look like for you?
I have gotten really into pottery over the last year. And so I go to a pottery studio a couple of times a week. And that is really, really, really important for me. Just stepping out from all of that and doing something that's completely unrelated to my work. And that's something that I've struggled with for a long time. I was always like, oh, I should be taking a dance class, or I should be like doing this. And, you know, the self-care thing that I did for a long time, which I'm not complaining about at all because I love it. But I would go do gyrotonic with a friend of mine, right? And it, even then, like that's taking care of me, but it's still movement, right? Like, so finding something that was just completely unrelated was really, really, really important.
I think my last thing is like bigger picture. What's something that you wish you knew when you were first starting out that you know now?
I mean, I feel like a lot of my career as a coach has been driven by all of the things that I wish that I'd known when I first started, as far as like how my body works and how to do this work in a way that is supporting my body as opposed to me fighting against my body, right? Like, this doesn't have to be a battle between what you want to do and what your body is capable of doing. There is a way to do this work that is holistic and that will take care of yourself. And there's a way to do this work where you're constantly fighting and coming up against these limitations. And I feel like the culture encourages that idea of fighting with yourself and your capabilities. And I really wish that I had figured out, or somebody had told me or taught me, you know, when I was first starting out, that it doesn't have to be that way. And you can go at a slower pace if that means that you're developing more long-term foundational skills. You can be a really brilliant and amazing performer working within the range of your capabilities. And it's so hard to not fall into the trap of comparing yourself to people, you know, especially in a discipline like this, right? And especially with like Instagram and, you know, things like this that is just constantly putting you in this position of like aspiration, right? I want to be that flexible. I want to be that strong, right? I don't mean don't work towards those things, but work towards them in a way that's realistic for yourself. Work towards them in a way that's compassionate to yourself, right? Like, this is the only body that you have. And, you know, speaking from experience, you can do a whole lot of damage to that body if you're pushing yourself too hard. You know, I have permanent injuries that I've sustained that I will never fully recover from. And you don't want to, you know, put yourself through the ringer when you're in your 20s and then spend the rest of your life limping around in pain because of what you did. I've known so many people who were working professionally, working at a high caliber, who were in constant physical pain. You know, you can create art. Art does not have to destroy you physically. and you can create amazing art and incredible performance without doing that to yourself.
Where can everyone find you? Where can we find you online?
My webpage is laurenkehl.com. I'm on Instagram at Lauren Kehl, and I have a YouTube channel as well.
Well, kudos to you, Lauren. It's been really awesome because I know you personally and I've known you for years. It's been awesome to watch you evolve and grow your own brand and your own business. And I'm really excited to see where you grow in the next coming years.
Right. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Hey, thanks for watching. We take your career seriously, and if you do too, we invite you to subscribe to our channel and follow along to start your Circus Boss journey.